range handles better into the Blackfeather. He has the mobility, he has the slow, but going to be a Blackfeather ban away, and I personally don't like this, but we'll have to see if it works out for them.
Yeah, I mean, the Blackfeather, again, it's just about what do you feel more comfortable playing into. And, you know, Ringo actually has, I mean, he has a decent win rate here in VIS Pro. I don't know if you were here. Yeah, you weren't here yesterday, but after yesterday's matches, Varia actually only has a 33% win rate, if you can believe that. So it just depends on how you execute the rest of the draft when you let a Ringo through. I mean, you could actually say, all right, what if we wanted to play Crystal Ringo in the jungle? I don't expect that to be the case. But whatever it is, they just feel like they're okay letting the Ringo go through. And maybe it's because they'd rather go up against a Ringo than maybe a Rona, for instance. So these are things that you're trying to maybe force the enemy team into a different path when you go to this draft. And now with the second pick coming up on the board, I do like Feroxx going with that support pick in this case.
Yeah, Arden, very good at helping specifically the VIS, you know, that extra barrier that he can give. Gives him some more time to heal up with the poison shiv that we usually see on the VIS, as well as gives him that little additional speed boost as well that can help get him out of danger. The Taka ban coming out of the side of Vision Gaming, this allows them to go with one of those really heavy assaulting backline heroes. There's the Ringo right there, and I think this has a distinct advantage over the VIS. Other options could have been, you know, we see Celeste, obviously very susceptible to things like the Taka, but Ringo just so strong in the meta right now that this is an incredibly smart pick, and you're using an advantage early on. It's going to make it difficult, especially paired up with the Lyra, giving the Ringo the sustain in the lane to keep the VIS on his heels.
Yeah, and I am surprised by the Blackfeather ban early on because I think there's a lot of evidence suggesting Vision would love to have Ringo in this game. And, you know, again, you know, you could even have made a case to ban Blackfeather and then Ringo and not even worry about Varia. Again, Varia hasn't really been effective, but we're talking about pretty sizable difference potentially in the skill tier of these teams. A Vangler A team versus a new and up-and-coming challenger. And so while there may not be an actual skill gap between these teams, just the perception, the mind game that can be played can sometimes play into it. And wow, Vision, this is a composition that really goes back for me, Day, as you are going to see Lyra paired up with Ringo and Koshka.
Yeah, and typically, you know, the Ringo and Koshka were very renowned at one point for their early game pressure, especially when paired with Fortress at the time, was that just superstar early game aggressive captain. They're going to go with the Baptiste to try to counter out the Koshka. This can be very susceptible to the damage from Ringo, and if the Koshka and Lyra specifically play this correctly, the Baptiste actually can lose pretty early against this Koshka.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see the Koshka. I mean, we typically say that Baptiste has the kit to deal with Koshka, but in reality, when you watch it play out, Koshka normally always beats him in the early game, and enough so that they can snowball, and when you've got a Ringo on your team as well, that is the recipe for success, and this is one that we could be seeing Vision easily push ahead.
Yeah, we definitely could. This early game is going to need to be packed, however, with a lot of aggression. Again, the Ringo's best case here is that he's helping shut out this VIS early, making it very difficult for the VIS to farm up. It's going to be with the help of Lyra in the lane, the sustain that she gives the Ringo, as well as aggressive rotations once Koshka hits level 2, which, thanks to the current meta rotations that we see, should be pretty much almost instantly. Ringo and Koshka very likely going to clear out the backs together, should be level 2, have both of her abilities, and can come up and make those very aggressive gank attempts in the lane. Even if you don't get the kill, if you can force VIS to recall, thanks to the clear speed of Ringo, you can force VIS to miss out on a lot of CS in the lane. All right, and as we get here into the game, again, we'll likely see PvP Warrior and Tivo split the Ambient Golden experience in the back. We'll probably see God of Sins and Jayschwan do the same in their jungle. Captains will likely just kind of poke their heads out, get some vision here in the middle of the map, try to see which team is making the quicker rotation. And with Lyra's healing potential here in the early game, I'd expect to see the side of Vision Gaming take an early fight if they get that chance.
Yeah, it definitely could be that early game aggression we typically see. I really want to see. Koshka doesn't fall off hard after the mid game, but does start to fall off as you get later and later into the late game. Reflex blocks become more common. Her ultimate, Cabinet Frenzy just becomes much, much harder to land effectively. Kind of actually makes you more of a sitting duck. But we have that early aggression coming out right out of the gate.
Yeah, we're doing Ordain down, gonna hold the Koshka back a little bit, but not without some loss there, as PvP Warrior trades out a bunch of damage onto both the Arden and the Vox. Again, Jayshuan now sitting underneath half health, and that's gonna give Vision the opportunity to go ahead and uncontested take that Treant. PvP Warrior going to return to the lane, and despite the recall from Vox, he shouldn't lose out on too much here in the lane. Ringo with only a single weapon blade for his offense, not going to be able to clear out this wave too quickly. He's going to miss out on a couple minions. He's going to offset that with the experience and the gold coming out of the ambient in the jungle. And obviously Chamu here, he's going to go ahead and come up into the lane, try to make sure when this wave does get pushed through, it doesn't make it to the turret. And here comes Jayshuan.
Yeah, that Baptiste is going to rotate up along with Jayshuan, so they're going to share a little bit extra there. Koshka, on the other hand, is actually dual jungling with Lyra. And it's not too often you see the support jungling with the jungler. Koshka doesn't really need it. I think a lot of this is just because of how aggressive Koshka's going to want to be. It's just easier for Shade Town to already be rotated down in position as they move into the enemy tri-bush like they are right now. And that's a kind of a strategy I expect. And also, it allows them to push that tri-bush. You're seeing right now, they're going to be able to get the Elder Treant with no contest. And a lot of that comes from Lyra being down there with Koshka as they rotate around to the enemy side of the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's smart pickup here from PvP Warrior. Has gone with the light shield early on, knowing that the Vox's damage on him in the early portion of the game is going to be those resonance bounces, and despite it being a weapon Vox, when you're up against a Vox in the lane, those resonance bounces over time can be very effective at chunking out the health of an enemy target. So, very smart purchase coming out of PvP Warrior. They are even across the board on levels, with the exception of Shaded Talent sitting a little bit over Chamu, now hitting level 3, everything evens out. Still a little bit away from ultimates, but we know once Koshka hits that level 6 mark, she's going to look for those very aggressive engages onto this Vox, locking him down and taking away the biggest damage potential that the side of Team Feroxx had.
It is going to be somewhat of a cat and mouse game for Feroxx to avoid the Koshka at all costs, right? You know, making sure you don't, play into that aggressive strategy of pushing in. It's okay if you give up a little farm. You just don't want to give up a massive amount of kills and allow the game to start snowballing and early objectives and whatnot. So you're seeing, again, they've allowed Koshka to get the other treants, they've allowed Koshka to be a little aggressive, and they're only sitting down 500 gold, and that's not a steep deficit to be in whatsoever at about 4 to 5 minutes in the game.
Yeah, absolutely not. Now, we do have a little bit of a CS advantage in the jungle, specifically. Looking at TiVo, 28 to the 21 of Goddessins, 30 now to 21. The mobility that Koshka has is just so effective, in her clear speed is so massive. PvP Warrior, though, he's picked up that spell sword here in the lane. Again, we talked about it right at the beginning of the stream, that one of the buffs that makes Ringo so viable is the spell sword with its attack buff, as far as its base weapon power damage up to 110. But then Ringo also naturally suffers to energy regeneration problems because of the cost of his Twirling Silver. That's no longer the case once you've gone with the spell sword first item. You gain energy for each hit landed. You have additional cooldown speed as well, which is helpful. And oh man, Chamu, you might be here in a rough spot, taking a bit of damage. Has had to use his flask already, and with this this minion candy buffed wave here, we get some damage down on the turret. PvP Warrior is going to take a lot of damage thanks to that Ordain coming out of Goddessins, who's level 6. He has the Fearsome Shade ready to go, as well as TiVo, level 6 here on this Koshka, has that yummy Catnip Frenzy. This is a huge opportunity for both teams, and avoiding either of these abilities is detrimental for the team that wants to win.
Yeah, and what has happened in the last couple minutes has been somewhat of just a slower pace coming out of Vision, right? We're not seeing this hyper aggression. that we saw maybe the first minute and a half where they were pushing further. Again, we're still seeing that dual rotation in the jungle where Shade Talent is going along with Koshka and helping push, but you're not seeing them really be aggressive, and that has a lot of credit to go over to Pharaoh and this team, just being smart and playing against the Koshka. I would say very well, Denominate. They're not giving over anything extra, and they're keeping this gold right within striking distance.
Yeah, they are. Feroxx doing a great job not getting pressured early on by this Ringo and the Lyra combination in the lane. Got level 7 on the junglers. We've got level 7 on the box as well. Here comes the Hellfire Brew. What target is it on? Unfortunately, it's the Arden. It's not the target you want it to land on. So now Vision Gaming looks like they might be just trying to force this wave up so they get some damage. But Team Feroxx, here they come. All 3 members. We don't have a gauntlet yet, but we do have that Arcane Passes. God of Sins taking a ton of damage. There's the Flask and Fountain Pop to keep him alive. This turret is looking worse for wear as PvP Warrior is just clearing out these minions so quickly, poking out damage onto God of Sins and Jason every time he can. And it's really what we need to see out of this Ringo. He's doing a great job here early, trying to keep the pressure up. We just haven't seen a strong enough engage come out of Vision yet to actually be able to capitalize on how well PvP Warrior is playing.
Gods of Sin's doing a good job, though, not going down early. I mean, he was putting out a lot of damage. The temptation there is always to try to stick with the kill. He would have probably paid the price, and they did allow this turret to survive a little bit longer, but as you guys are seeing right there, not much longer, as it is going to be Vision Gaming getting that first objective.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and take that one down. That's a nice 600 gold buff going over to their team. And now it looks like Feroxx, they want to try to return the favor with some damage on this turret. Koshka is forced to recall, so it's going to be only 2 members of Vision in the lane. Shaded Talent, no energy. Fearsome Shade is going to miss there. The members of Vision getting quite low here, and they're going to have to be cautious. The Hellfire Brew this time does land onto Jason. And PvP Warrior, again, the speed that Ringo clears out the lane, they're able to defend that turret, only taking about a fifth of its health away. And Koshka, full health, looking for that aggressive rotation. Can she get the steal, though? It does look like she got it, but maybe not. Nope, that's going to be Jason. And now, Tivo, you're going to have to get out, man. Level 8, though, has the overdrive on the Twirly Death, so that's going to be a big spike of damage that comes out of this Koshka in these next couple fights.
Yeah, they're going to focus onto the gold miner here, but it's been kind of a slower paced game for this composition. A lot of this coming out from Feroxx just slowing it down, but it looks like even with this slower pace, we're seeing Vision do all of the things they need to do. They're getting the gold lead now, finally able to break away and start to extend this to 2,000. They're starting to be able to, I think, push the rotation. They're not, again, playing massively aggressive, but again, taking advantage of when they can push together as a team here. But we got to watch out as Gauntlet coming down, Denominate, but it is going to be blocked out. Blocked out, and not gonna basically start the full force engagement that would probably be coming out of Vision. Vision now looking for the fight. And they're going in with that Hellfire Brew, Denominate.
Yeah, and Vox taking a lot of damage, but Tivo taking quite a bit as well. Chamu, he is on the front line on this retreat, though, taking a lot of damage. That Fountain is burned out from both teams, but obviously the Lyra has sustained throughout. And now God of Sins, he's going to block the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, but it's going to be unfortunate for Jason as well as God of Sins. He's going to drop as well. Shamu, can you make it out? Here comes PvP Warrior. This chase might be a little too much. Oh, no! Oh, PvP Warrior just barely makes it out of that turret range. Gonna go ahead and use that reflex block as he thought that shot was coming. But now rotating down through the jungle, this is going to be another rotation going over to the side of Vision Gaming. And while they didn't have the best execution early on, they're making up for it here in the mid game where they've really got their heavy power spikes. This Ringo having the Breaking Point and Spell Sword complete, able to ramp up damage pretty quickly on in these fights. Again, doesn't have to suffer from the energy regeneration, but now they're on the run as Jason, he's coming. He's looking for PvP Warrior. Can he find it? There's the War Treads just purchased by Shaded Talent. Going to get them out alive, but now with this wave here in the lane, I think Team Feroxx, they're going to find themselves first turret.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to bring it down very low, but we've got another fight breaking out that could try to engage them to at least make them pay for this aggression.
Yeah, here comes the gauntlet. Jason makes it out alive. Now Shamu exiting that gauntlet. Those walls are going to drop. I think this is a dead Arden. God of Sins, are you going to pay with your life as well? Yummy Catnip Frenzy is going to get blocked, but TiVo, he's on the chase. God of Sins dropped low. I don't even think the Ordain is going to save him at this point. That's a double kill going over to the side of Vision Gaming. And PvP Warrior, he's looking to force up this wave. They're looking to get some objectives back in their favor here. As Team Feroxx on a good rotation, we're able to even things out.
Yeah, and we don't even see infusions right now on Team Vision, but they do have the leg up as far as overall defensive items as well as offensive. Again, we'll be able to focus on this turret. You see just 2 items on PvP Warrior. Might be a little bit low at the 11-minute mark, considering we haven't seen a whole ton of infusions. But a lot of that has to do with him just focusing on not just those offensive items, but also moving into that Aegis here. And it's now going to be that piercing spear that he's picking up. But again, a little bit of a slightly more defensive focus by this team. Koshka as well. You would expect a Koshka to build 2 items and then go into defense, but because the whole team is tanky, they are surviving these fights and they're looking to put the hurt on. Gods of Sin's not able to unfortunately get the damage yet at just 1 tier. Hellfire Brew coming in as they go into this fight yet again.
Yeah, they found some damage on the God of Sins, but TiVo has to be careful. He's a long way away from Shaded Talent. That Yummy Catnip Frenzy is not going to get blocked. It's on to Chamu. The Fountain did not get used. Will we see TiVo make it out here alive? It looks like he's going to. PvP Warrior, can you find the damage you need? It doesn't look like it. They have to retreat from this Crystal Sentry. And that's going to be Jason and God of Sins holding off the aggression, using only 1. It is 5-0 for the side of Vision Gaming. But these fights have actually been fairly even. Vision Gaming, they're just getting the slight better edge because their power spikes are here.
Yeah, I don't know if Jason knew how low TiVo got in that fight. TiVo was actually picking up resonance damage, continually dropping. They are going to pick up this gold miner, but it could be Pharaoh going in for this fight.
Yeah, they're looking for a kill. PvP Warrior, he's now trapped in. The block comes through, but it's not enough. That's going to be a kill
shade.
That's going to be a second kill picked up for God of Sins now. Just like that, they put 2 kills on the board. 13 minutes in, no Kraken to take, but they're going to look to aim for a Crystal Sentry, as well as probably a bit of Jungle Farm as well.
Yeah, picking up a turret, picking up a Crystal Sentry. Those are a nice 2 pair of kills. I mean, they had the turret, so they are good. Again, getting that sentry off the board. I believe that is the first sentry for them. And again, huge job by Furrow to try to start looking to get back into this game. Baptiste and Vox are going to be great into late game. And as the Koshka starts to fall off, this is something you have to be mindful of if you're Vision. You don't want to let this game extend any longer than it had to. And a fight like that is exactly what lets a team like Pharaoh with this composition start to creep back in and win more and more team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to give away any gold. The side of Vision was starting to form a very distinct advantage, and they haven't been able to do so, off the result of these last couple fights. They were able to pick up 1 kill here or there, but it was on to Chamu underneath the Crystal Sentry, which helped force the opposition back. And then off the back of that play, Feroxx answer back quickly. They pick up 2 kills and start to kind of even things out as far as the way the damage trades have been going. And I really like that Feroxx, they haven't given up hope here. They were a couple thousand gold down. In fact, they're still about 5,000 gold down, but they're showing signs of life. They're showing that they still can compete with this team. And as the game gets later on, this Vox is going to get more and more scary.
I feel like they might be getting ready for this fight. Nice.
There's some shade out. They have the captain locked up, Shaded Talent. Here comes the silence coming out of Vox. It's TiVo on, getting some good damage. Shaded Talent put himself on the front line, takes a couple bad mojos, has to be cautious. PvP Warrior finding some good damage down onto Vox, but can't go anywhere thanks to that beautiful gauntlet from Shamu. And that's going to be a kill going over to Feroxx, and the tides have started to turn. That might be a kill onto TiVo as well. A block is going to help get him out alive, but Shaded Talent, his fate is not the same in the enemy jungle. That's going to be God of Sins picking up a kill. And at the 15-minute mark, that's not where you want to lose a team fight. And Vision, they may have just given too much control over to the side of Team Feroxx.
Yeah, Team Feroxx, great job. You saw an early Crucible got burnt by Shaded Talent in that fight. Before we saw, it was kind of after the Fearsome Shade, before the Gauntlet. I think that was a bit of a miscue. You didn't even see an Ordain down. and they didn't need to use that Crucible then. Again, they were able to use this Arcane Passage to get out of the Gauntlet, but it was too late. I think they really need to save that Crucible to, basically run out of that fight, because that fight was not a fight that they were looking to win. Good job by Pharaoh. I think baiting Vision into that tight spot and forcing them to kind of just commit to a fight that they weren't ready to win.
Yeah, that's definitely the way it looked, and now they have a Kraken marching down the lane. There is a single turret advantage for the side of Vision Gaming right now, but that should probably change pretty quickly here. Jay needs to get some more damage here, though, on the Vox. The survivability is nice, but if you don't end up having the damage, then this Vox is going to be able to outduel you at almost every state of the game, especially with the Bonesaw picked up now. This Kraken taking a lot of damage here very quickly. We don't have the range on Feroxx to really contest this Ringo's damage. And now, with the attention turning as this Kraken takes down that turret, this fight's breaking out. God of Sin's taking a lot of damage, but that Fearsome Shade does not get blocked. Here comes a Gauntlet. Jason, he's on the backline, but he's taking a lot of damage, dishing out quite a bit as well. Shamu taking a massive amount as well. Yummy Catnip Frenzy is going to get blocked up, and that's TiVo getting dropped. And Jason able to kite that one out, building up those stacks of Breaking Point. Doesn't apparently need the damage I thought he did. Now Ringo looking to return some of that damage as Vox is really single-handedly pushing them back thanks to this infusion. And I think that's all for Feroxx. They need to get out now. The Ordained going to keep Ringo back, but they just need to go ahead and focus on this turret. Running out, if they lose their lives here, it could be an opportunity for Feroxx to just finish the game. Good snare, though. Beautiful play coming out of Shaded Talent there. Might have been what they needed. God of Sins looking to find a kill onto PvP Warrior. Shaded Talent with a good block, though. Fearsome Shade gonna come out. PvP Warrior gaining some health back from that Imperial Sigil. Here comes TiVo. The Yummy Catnip Frenzy and Hellfire Brew are out, and Vision Gaming have done it. They are able to find the ace. PvP Warrior somehow made it out of that fight. I'm still not 100% sure how. Good plays coming out of Shaded Talent, though, standing right on top of that Baptiste, blocking out that final bad mojo that would have done PvP Warrior in, and now Vision Gaming clearing out some wave here, clearing out some jungle, looking for a choke point turret of their own, but only one turret stand between Feroxx and a victory.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic job by PvP, but I want to note Shaded Talent had one of the most clutch sigils ever, actually placed a sigil right in the front side of the lane, opposite of where the Fearsome Shade was moving, and kind of did it simultaneously as the Fearsome Shade came out. That allowed PvP to move in the opposite direction of the Fearsome Shade and actually get in position to take out Gods of Sid. So, I mean, those are the kind of heads-up plays when you're actually helping your team position to get the best outcome of those fights. And again, if you'd put the sigil behind him, PvP Warrior would have to actually get farther away from Gods of Sins, maybe not pick up that kill. Instead, puts in the right spot. Great job by PvP and Shaded Talent, and these guys have been playing together forever. Denominate. I mean, there's such synergy between them, and you can see it in that play.
Yeah, you absolutely can, and both teams are really poised to potentially win the game off the next fight. The Kraken is on the board, but if either team wins a clean fight where all three members live and they pick up an ace, they shouldn't need that Kraken. This Ringo has more than enough damage, and with Vox working into his third offensive item now and only one turret to go, Team Feroxx definitely could look for the victory off the back of a fight too. So both teams have to be very cautious here. But as we look at the map, Vision definitely have the vision control, keeping their names strong here as they spot out Team Feroxx, rotating down here. Hellfire Brew is out onto God of Sins. Smartly, though, they do allow that one through to keep their blocks for that Yummy Catnip Frenzy. It does take a decent chunk of health away, but again, they're not getting locked up for essentially 2.5 seconds by Yummy Catnip Frenzy in this case.
Yeah, we are going to see back rotation. Now they're coming forward. It's going to be a contested Kraken, Denominate. Huge fight, huge gauntlet.
Yeah, beautiful gauntlet coming out. PvP Warriors on the wrong side of this fight. Not able to get damage down onto the carries like he'd hoped, but there we go, turning his attention onto the Baptiste. He's able to get a lot down. Jason, though, he's got some stacks building up for him. He's looking for some damage. PvP Warrior is definitely starting to build up some stacks of his own as Jason's drop. He's on the front line, though, taking a lot of damage. Here comes TiVo. They find a kill onto Shamu, but Jason and God of Sins, they're still in this fight. They find one kill. Can Jason do it, though? There's the Atlas Pauldron. Shaded Talent can you do it? Jay-Sean is so low, but Lyra not a whole lot of damage for herself.
Not a whole lot of energy, but neither does Jay-Sean.
Not a lot of energy either, you're right. And Jay-Sean, he's on the run now, understanding that against the healing that Shaded Talent has, likely just going to end in a draw. Also having to watch out for all these scout traps that Shaded Talent has been putting down. Definitely could have taken a chunk away, and that's a 2-for-2 trade. Neither team going to get the Kraken, neither team going to get an ace. And we're just going to see both teams back off, top off their health here, and wait for some respawns and look for the next fight.
Whew, what a fight, man. That last one was very close, nail-biting, almost even. Jay-Sean with these stacks is doing a lot of damage, and, you know, he only has 2 full items built, and he's already out-damaging PvP Warrior. That's a huge concern, Denominate. Like, you're a Ringo with 4 items, and you really just don't have the defense to deal. I love the Metal Jacket build. Granted, there's a Bone Saw on PvP Warrior to contend with that, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I really think that Jay-Sean, in these longer fights, if he gets that 3rd item, he is going to be a scary, scary force to deal with. Doesn't have an infusion just yet. Oh, he does get that 3rd item. Gets that Sorrow Blade right now, but no infusion.
Hellfire Brew is out on to God of Sins, though. A good use of the Vanguard there. Gonna save the block. Here comes the wait for it, though. That's a silence into all of the enemies. That's a gauntlet blocked there, and now it's Vision Gaming actually on the back foot as PvP Warrior, as you mentioned, without defense, is taking just massive amounts of damage. They've got an Atlas Pauldron down onto Jay-Sean, but will it be enough? There's a beautiful 3-man fear coming out of God of Sins. They are by their Crystal Sentry and could potentially use that to their advantage, but I think that's a dead Lyra. It indeed is, and now without that 3rd player, PvP Warrior and TiVo, they just need to get out here. Jay-Sean, he's coming in, but he doesn't really have the energy for this. PvP Warrior, in his attempts to stutter step, though, has put himself vulnerable to the damage from Vox, but has made it back to the healing platform, and that is a little bit of a life saved there by Vision Gaming. TiVo is looking to chase, but I don't know if this is really the smart thing to do here.
I think he's just trying to make Fero think that both him and PvP are moving in to stop them from starting up the Kraken. I think that was really the intention. I don't think he was planning to fight. PvP was staying back for a little bit, waiting to make a buy. And so because of that, I think what he did, and it looks like it's successful, Fero did not start up the Kraken. They were too afraid, and then when they saw Koshka coming in, clearly enough to just dissuade them, if that had been maybe their strategy. And right now, if you're the side of Vision, you do not want them to start up the Kraken. You don't want to give them any kind of advantage whatsoever. Unfortunately, for Vision, they are on the back end of this game. I mean, they're down only 1 objective to nominate, but when you look at the Koshka, Ringa, Lyra composition into a Vox, you definitely see the advantage that Fero has.
Yeah, absolutely. And PvP Warrior, he does have some crit going for him now. So that Breaking Point wasn't really doing things for him the way he wanted it to, so he's dropped it off, gone a much more damage and brunt force heavy build. And TiVo with the Aftershock and the drawing a blank here, the
Broken Myth.
Broken Myth, oh my goodness, is definitely capable of putting a lot of damage down. There's a stun off of that gauntlet, though. Fearsome Shade comes through. An Atlas Pauldron down onto Ringo. That's not good for Vision, but equally, an Atlas Pauldron has been dropped onto Jay-Sean. TiVo has found a lot of damage, but needs to get out here now as well. PvP Warriors coming in. They find a kill onto God of Sins. Can they get the kill onto Jay-Sean, though?
Close.
TiVo's looking for it. So close. There it is. That's an ace for Vision Gaming, and just like that, when things were looking so good for Fero, I think Vision Gaming have just won this one. 45 and 50-second death timers on all members. This Ringo, having switched up, going the critical damage build, I think they're closing this one out pretty easily here.
Oh yeah, plenty of death timer time, and absolutely huge for them. Vision are going to pick up the win here, and in a game that I would argue was insanely close. Oh my god.
Yeah, excellent plays out of both of these teams. I expected it very heavily to be more in favor of Vision, especially with the draft that they got. But Fero, they put up a just brilliant fight all the way down to the end. 25-minute game. And Jay-Sean really played excellently here on this Vox.
Absolutely. When we look at the builds here, I mean, with very little, he was able to do so much. It was kind of scary, actually. I mean, you're looking at, like, as the game